Hi, Rob.
Hey, Ben. Welcome, everybody, to another week, this week's episode of the High
Desert
Podcast.
Oh, we're supposed to do that together, but
That's
whatever.
all right.
You know, we are the Santa Fe Animal Shelter's voice, right?
Voices.
Voices, yes. Well, one unified voice for all that we do at the shelter.
When we harmonize.
When we harmonize. Cannot do that.
Okay.
And by the way, I have a very attractive kitty cat on my shoulder, and you're wearing a very nice cap.
Yes.
What's that all about? Is it shameless merchandise?
Yeah, it's shameless merchandising. I am decked out in total Santa Fe Animal Shelter gear. We have our nice logo, stylized cat and dog, though that's not all we do here. Is it, though, Ben? We do
turtles, exotic
snakes. We had a rat in earlier today. We once got alligators. Horses have been surrendered to us. No primates, to my knowledge.
No primates, no.
Which is good. And so, yes, these are our new caps. Oh, I got my headphones on. These are our new caps, and there's a cat. And they come in a variety of colors. They come in red, pink, gray, or I should say this bordering part. Red, pink, gray, green, blue.
Lots of different colors this time, and they're all available at our shelter store and online pretty soon. So
get yourself one, and then you can look really country chic like me.
And why do we love to wear our logo and let people know that we're from the Santa Fe Animal Shelter?
Well, I didn't know there was going to be a pop quiz,
Ben. It's not
Ben.
a trick question.
I don't know. Why, brand recognition?
Not only that, it's just to let people know that what we are and what we do.
Yeah.
It always gives us an opportunity to talk about shelter work and our programs with homeless animals.
Yeah. And
besides, it makes you look so handsome.
Thank you. This is my signature look. Usually when I'm outside of the office, which is, sort of hick fashionable. But yeah, we do have two guests today, both of the feline variety, because we don't often get too many cat guests. This little guy, I think, came in stray around here, right?
Yes.
And then this one came in from a transfer from Los Angeles. So we partner with shelters all around the country. I think we've mentioned this before.
But this is, this recent transfer was quite unique in that, a lot of shelters, most shelters are overpopulated, but by far the biggest population are cats because cats tend to stay at shelters a lot longer than dogs do, about 10 days longer than dogs do.
That's true of our shelter, yeah. And being a nonprofit, entirely donor funded, but sort of destination shelter, we get to partner with other shelters in mainly the region, I'd say the Southwest, but all over the country, to get some of their animals here because we have a pretty good track record of adopting.
We have excellent track record
of adopting, the certain the animals that we know.
Anyway, I did want to mention this week's transfers from our friends in Los Angeles, Fix Nation. They do a lot of work with feral, the community cats in Southern California and Los Angeles. They're a wonderful group, and they also had foster kittens and had a surplus, and we picked 24 up on Tuesday, I think it was.
Over Wednesday night. Monica, something I was supposed to do, but I decided to bail on it. Meet them midway in Flagstaff, Arizona, and drive through the night to get them here in the morning. So Monica picked up my slack, I guess.
And if you do want to ever see all our beautiful cats and dogs, make sure to check our website out.
Yeah.
And our Facebook page, sfhumanesociety.org, and Santa Fe Animal Shelter.
And we always need volunteer help with transfers. So if you're in Santa Fe, you should be volunteering already, let's be honest. But
hey, what's in the news lately, Rob?
So I'm glad you asked, Ben, because what has made the news frequently, and it's a semi-animal related issue. You have a smartwatch, interactive smartwatch,
it's
right?
A very clever watch.
Where
Siri and I talk a lot. We actually don't get along that well, but it's okay. We're working out our differences.
She frequently, or whatever one I have on my phone, thinks I'm inappropriate, and will tell me that.
She always tells me it's not always about you, Ben.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, I think it is, but
so wearable tech has been something in the headlines as far as humans are concerned for a couple of years now. And there are these new inventions coming out primarily for dogs. I haven't seen one for cats that are smart collars, essentially. And wanted to bring that up a little bit. The one in today's, or I guess it was yesterday's news, this from marketplace.org, is called the FitBark. Not the cleverest play on words I've ever heard. That's okay. See, we're already disagreeing.
Fitbit, FitBark.
And it interfaces with Fitbit. And so a lot of these, what I think is interesting is that when these sort of inventions come out, whether they be animal or human-centered, they try to cram as many features into them as possible. What's interesting about all of these is, and I think that their main use and a really good use for them is for tracking your animal. So should they get out, if you leave your animal in a fenced-in yard or something like that, or you have a cat that's an indoor cat that likes to run out the door, although, again, we're talking about dog collars here, it'll allow you to track them. They almost all have GPS locators. So for that reason, it is absolutely an excellent invention. I love that aspect of it. If the price point is down low enough that most people could afford it, it's a great way to keep tabs on your animal.
Right, and they do have GPS collars for dogs, but those GPS collars are and for all animals, but they're very expensive. And so I think this is just technology is advancing. This is a great, a new invention that is just innovative to be able to track your dog and also probably, find out how many steps he's taken, right?
Right. Yes. So that's the interesting part I find is...
Because would you have to double it by 4 or times it by 4?
Oh, that's interesting. I guess pedometers work on an accelerometer that goes up and down anyway. So it's how many
ups and downs?
Ups and downs it is.
FitBarks.
So Fitbit also interfaces with FitBark. And what you can do is, using the app, you can monitor your dog's heartbeat, steps walked, all of this stuff. Now,
that's cool.
So for humans, it's important. I happen to have high blood pressure, but a low pulse. So I keep track of my heart function.
That's really strange.
Yeah, it's really unusual. Yeah. But anyway, so I keep track of that. My phone has a heartbeat monitor. But it also has stuff that it can't possibly tell, like stress, like a stress meter and things like that. But that's not
FitBark work that too?
Yeah. So both the ones we're looking at are the FitBark and one called Buddy. The Buddy one is definitely the more aesthetically pleasing because it has this LED light that lights up around it so you can see your dog in the dark, which is another.
Cool. And we'll post these photos on our site. So
and we'll cut them into the podcast. And the Buddy actually interfaces with the Nest thermostat, Nest being a digital thermostat that you can control from your device as well. So that's interesting. My qualm with it is if you're trying to figure out what an animal's mood is and you're relying on a digital device to do that, that's still something that veterinarians and veterinary psychologists, if that's a thing, are still trying to figure out. We don't know necessarily.
Nobody knows exactly what a dog is thinking.
Yeah,
we always think they do, but you never know.
Yeah, and a lot of it's personification on our end. Our dog loves, this and that.
Loves me because I give him biscuits.
Yeah, and so that I'm very dubious of, that these things can in any way determine or tell you what your dog's mood is. But certainly for location... I think it's a great idea. The GPS, there's just really no downside to that. And just a little known fact, we talk about microchipping a lot. Microchips do not locate your animal.
A lot of people think that maybe the technology will advance at one time that will have a little beep in there. But right now, they basically are read by a detectable thing that tells you what the number is.
Right.
And that's where you can connect.
So these cats probably have a microchip. Sometimes you can feel them, usually in their neck. Sometimes in their rear hindquarters here. And when we wave a wand over it, it sends a radio signal and it'll bring up the information that's been stored on that microchip, which is actually, it's not information stored on the microchip. It'll give up the microchip's signature, a serial number, and then that thing actually connects to the internet to a database with whoever the microchip vendor is that then reports that information back. So a really, really awesome invention. Helps us out a lot, especially with animals that may have gone stray, reuniting them with their families, but it does not locate your pet. So be aware of that. No microchips, to my knowledge, for animals do that.
Not right now.
But this would. The price point for these are high. In fact, the Buddy, I think, is actually being crowdfunded, so I'm not sure I don't think it's available yet. It looks like they're gonna run around $400 to $500.
That's not bad for a peace of mind.
You sure? No, it is. A peace of mind is very important to me. I won't be getting one of these anytime soon. You'll meet my dog Leche at some point. He stays pretty close, so I don't have to worry too much about it. But you just never know. Speaking of Leche, we took questions from the audience this week. So if you asked a question online, you are watching and eagerly awaiting the answer. We've been keeping you in suspense for the past 5 or 6 days. Ben handles all of our Facebook communication and has been thoroughly documenting. My foot's asleep and it's driving me crazy. I hate that feeling. Documenting the growth of the puppies we had in the office here, who were Fran's puppies.
Fran's puppy, who's now Cora, and by the way, the adoption is going incredibly well with just about those people who keep in contact with us. Most of the Fran's puppies' parents keep in contact with us, and Fran's new mom, Lisa, and her husband Sean, who now named her Cora.
Corazon.
Yeah, say it's going incredibly well.
Yeah, and so we had a lot of people guess as to what Fran was and what her puppies were breed-wise. Oh, speaking of which, did you watch the Westminster Dogs Trail this weekend?
I did.
What do
you
you think?
Parts of it.
Yeah.
The Dodha, the German
short-haired pointer one.
Yeah, I know. It was interesting.
Yeah, and so we get into this now. I mentioned that because people are really sensitive to breeds with dogs, and that's what the issue was. And it's even shop talk around here. You know, what breed is this dog or that dog? A lot of people. Fran looked like a pretty mixed.
Maybe just call her a New Mexican brown dog, although she was from Arizona.
Yeah, pretty mixed breed. But her DNA results came back as
very positive as an American Staffordshire Terrier.
Mm-hmm.
A very, like, on her mom's side, complete 100% Staffordshire Terrier. Mm-hmm. We don't know what the dad was. It was just so interbred, I guess, that there wasn't no clear there wasn't any clear marker about what kind of. Oh, do you want to go run around? Okay, should we let them?
Yeah, I think.
Or she can go up there. Anyway.
And so American Staffordshire Terrier, relatively old breed from the United States, sort of what we'd call a bully breed. And so we get a lot of questions generally about, do you DNA test the dogs at the shelter? The answer on the whole is no. It's not all that important to us to know because breed is not even that important a determinant of behavior or anything like that.
For some dogs, some dogs definitely are Labrador Retriever. We know they're going to be high energy.
Or if they have yeah, you're right. Sorry, I stand corrected. If they have a prey drive, especially it seems like to me terriers will go after small animals. Labradors will certainly go after birds. Things like that. But in terms of temperament in the household, that's not really something you can determine by.
No, that's
by
a variety of different factors.
And as probably, I think everybody in the animal welfare community, anybody that knows dogs, says that has to do mostly with socialization and how they're treated at a young age, just like people. Considering Fran's puppies and how they looked, and they looked kind of wrinkly-faced.
Yeah, we all thought they were Mastiffs of some kind or Shar-Pei. Yeah. It turns out they were mostly.
I don't know.
The
suspense is killing me, Ben.
Suspense is killing you. So we know that Fran was definitely the mom side, was American Staffordshire Terrier.
Yep.
And on the other side of the dad's side, it was also really not known for sure exactly what it was, but definitely some kind of hound, like coonhound, bloodhound,
blue tick,
all kinds of things like that.
Yeah.
So they're going to be interesting as they grow older. And you know, hound dogs usually do have kind of a lot of wrinkly faces.
They have loose skin.
But we'll see what they do. I mean, a lot of people were not surprised about that DNA test, and I was
thinking something more Mastiff, but they didn't have the teeth for it or anything, so I don't know.
Beautiful dogs,
yeah. My dog, who we'll show a picture of and you'll meet at some point, I did a DNA test on him too. The DNA test we use is Wisdom Panel.
They're available here at the shelter.
Prices vary. I know that was one of the questions.
$90.
Yeah, they're coming down in price. The competition is increasing and their accuracy is also increasing. I was really dubious about these. I also didn't really necessarily care that much with the breed of
It's just fun.
It is fun, and the only reason I was Leche resembles a Dalmatian, at least in his coloring, and they can have a lot of health problems. So I wanted to be sure of that. And so when I got his, it turned out, yes, he was in fact Dalmatian. What was interesting about that to me was that some of the DNA tests, I don't know if they still do, but used to require that you mail in a picture, which to me meant we're going to run the DNA. If it comes back inclusive, we'll look at the picture and tell you what you want to hear. But he did come back partially Dalmatian. He was found on the street in Central America, so he was pretty mixed up with some other stuff. They said that he also had Chow Chow in him, which is unlikely.
What was the process of getting him into the States? Was that, did you have to go through, can he drive now? Does he get a real ID?
He has to have a rabies vaccination that's cleared by this. That's from a veterinarian that is approved by the CDC. And then he has to basically just have a clean bill of health from a licensed veterinarian. It was a surprisingly loose process, I have to say.
That's good. For all those people considering going to Mexico and picking up
a dog, yeah. So I brought him from Honduras in 2011. He adapted here fine. Doesn't like the cold, but
short hair too.
So. Yeah, and sheds a ton, which is apparently a Dalmatian trait. So, in short, don't expect to have anything profound gleaned from a DNA test, I would say. I think a lot of people know dog breeds well enough that they can kind of guess what their dog is, but it is fun, and it is a good way to know about potential health problems if you think that your dog is, I would say, 50% of one particular breed might be prone to health problems. So that's interesting. We can recommend it. Wisdom Panel seems to be do a good job. I can't recommend that one over any of the others. This is the one we use, and I would say pretty satisfied with it. So that was
some other questions.
That was our principal. That was the question that we had the most, because our Facebook audience, which hopefully you're already a part of, was curious about that. And my other list of questions. Where's my other list of questions, Ben?
The cats are enjoying it. Did you give it to me? I don't think so.
Oh no, they're here. Okay. So kind of getting along with the sort of technology bent, I had actually a close friend write in and ask, what do you think about laser pointers or tablet games for cats?
Well, I think any kind of games is really enriching for their, it really tests them, their intelligence, not testing them, but it does really help enrich their lives. So I would call it any kind of intelligence test or a puzzle. It's a fun game. I think that's great for keeping them stimulated and it's fun for you and the person. So I think it's fine.
The question was tinged. It seemed like was asking whether we think they're safe. Laser pointers are banned in some states. In fact, you never shine a laser pointer in somebody's eyes or your cat's eyes or anything like that. Don't just be smart. It can cause damage to the retina, apparently. I know when we got our kitten Vaca, we got a laser pointer because she was rambunctious and she was getting to the size where she was knocking stuff over, and I want to be able to control her play. And it became quite clear to me after playing with her with it for a little while that this wasn't going to work. She seems to be obsessive compulsive about it. So if I shine the laser pointer for 5 minutes, she will continue to look for it for the next hour. And that seemed like stress inducing for that cat in particular. You need to watch your cat's behavior, I would say. There's something to be said too for a toy like this, where they actually have the satisfaction
she's going crazy.
Where they actually have the satisfaction of actually catching something, and feeling it in their paws or in their mouth. Any sort of stimulation is great. Just be aware if it's engendering some
frustration,
undesirable tendencies.
I think with anything, it's just like if you want to give your animal, your pet, some kind of different kinds of puzzles or toys or something like that. I tried these food puzzles, which are a lot of fun for dogs and cats, and they basically, the food is underneath this sliding door kind of sliding chute kind of thing on like a plate situation, and they figure it out quite quickly. Some of them do anyway.
And I would recommend that without reservation, as long as they're not destructive or at risk of eating the plastic pieces that are involved in it, for two reasons. A lot of dogs are obviously opportunistic eaters and will eat too fast, and that can cause them to throw up, some of them, and it can cause really bad gas in some breeds of dogs because they inhale a lot of...
Some people use those for
to control
purpose.
those. Yeah. So I think we can recommend those.
Also, another one that a lot of people do for fast eaters is they get one of those big Kongs. They fill it up with kibbles and apple juice and freeze it, and they spend an hour just getting out the food.
Trying to get the stuff out. It actually simulates a bone and marrow inside, so it's a natural kind of thing for them. So thank you, Sam from Madison, Wisconsin, for sending us the question about laser pointers, and Serena for clarifying or asking for clarification about DNA tests. William from Wyckoff, New Jersey asks us, what's your favorite part of working at the shelter?
So my favorite part of the shelter is there's so many different things that I could talk about how much I love the shelter and what we do at the shelter but basically is watching these animals who come in so shy and traumatized just turn in a matter of days when they know that they're safe and trusting and they can trust people. To reconnect with an animal, to reestablish that bond or relationship that for whatever reason was broken, is just amazing. Fran, for example, the dog that came in from Arizona with her puppies, she was shut down and traumatized, but within days when she had regular food, knew that she was safe in a quiet environment, she just blossomed, and she's just now, according to Lisa, she's become a puppy and chasing things and playing with toys and stuff. And the other thing, what I really love, and what you see on Facebook is a lot, I love to see when people make that connection with an animal, and I love to capture that on film or on digital and in a photo. Just that's a starting point. I always look at it as there's the first step, and then there's going to be so many more these milestones of how the animal belongs to the family and bonds with that family and changes and becomes a part of their family. It's a really heartwarming to me.
Good. I just like baby animals. I think it's that simple for me.
Baby animals are good too, but I'm the one that has to clean up after them all the time,
Yeah, right. No, that's I get to work down the hall and just come in, and then when there's an accident, I'm just like, okay, it's time to leave. I'm suddenly busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Rebecca from here in Santa Fe asks, I have a family with small children and we want to get our first dog. Would you recommend a puppy or a full-grown dog, and what breed?
That's a good one.
It's a question we get a lot.
It really depends on the family and what the family wants. Puppies, especially with children, I mean, they're going to scratch them. They're going to do a lot of different things just because it's a natural thing. But it's also wonderful to watch the puppy kitten grow up with the child. And that bond is really incredible that they have between the children.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's a good learning experience for a child to grow up with an animal, and not to become too morbid here, but it helps a child, or at that age maybe a teenager, learn about losing something they love too, which
After
is a part of life.
15 years or so.
Right. And
the other thing is older dogs sometimes don't like children, so you got to keep in mind for that. You just got to make sure it's a good fit. So
true.
It really depends. I mean, I know that Lisa, for example, I'll just keep using her again. She came in because she was really enthralled with the puppies, and she met the puppies and she really liked them.
Mm-hmm.
But she connected with Fran right away and realized that, she had 2 dogs and she wanted an older dog, and Fran was a perfect fit. So it really depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, and breed is really even a more difficult question to answer. I wouldn't necessarily discourage you from many breeds. Pit bulls, actually, they say, or pit type dogs, tend to be really, really good with children.
Actually, they are. They're referred to as the nanny dog because people used to keep their dog pit bulls or mixes with their children.
Yeah.
And protect
them.
them.
The only ones that I would kind of discourage, and they're my favorite breeds of dogs, are something like Heelers, Australian cattle dogs, and Border Collies, just because they are very order-oriented breeds. Great dogs, but working dogs, and they will actually tend to nip at heels of children.
That's true.
Because they were bred to herd animals.
We had a border collie growing up, and she always chased us and nipped at us and kept us in line. We kind of liked it.
Yeah. And so if that's what you want for your kids, no. They're very energetic dogs. They can be destructive of environment. They'll get into the trash and stuff if
and it certainly does depend.
And so it's up to you, it depends on your parenting style and all that sort of thing. Good question. Excellent question, though.
So you might want to consider 2 dogs, because you never know when the children might.
Exactly.
Multi-dog households are fun.
So Lenny here at the shelter asks, Ben and Rob, do you consider yourselves cat or dog people?
So I do have 5 dogs and 5 birds.
Yeah, I was going to let you answer that question. Oh, yeah.
But I do love cats. I was the only one in my family who had cats, but I guess I'm more of a dog person, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to be have a
You
hipster
have a
answer and
dog
say
egg.
it's a false dichotomy.
Ooh.
We have a dog. The dog I was just talking about, Leche, and then the cat Vaca, which means milk and cow, respectively, in Spanish. It's funny.
For you, it's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess my personality would be what most people would consider a dog person kind of personality, but I don't really.
I do have a friend who has her dogs are milk and honey as well.
Milk and honey?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And it's funny that people ask about dog and cat people.
My girlfriend's lactose intolerant, so it's hilarious.
Oh, there we go. Is that that was actually once on my in a job interview question was, are you a dog or cat person? It was also the same kind of tenor.
Wait, someone asked you that in a job interview?
Yeah.
Which
is the kind of personality you have, and which is not true. I mean, cat people are.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And then they also asked if I was a Beatles fan or a Rolling Stone fan. I'm going like neither. But anyway.
All right, show's over.
Sorry.
Stones, anyway, I guess. Rolling Stones.
Those are good questions. Thank you. But I'm an animal person, so I do like.
Yeah, really. There's not a single type of animal. I got chased by an elephant once, so wow,
that's fun.
Yeah, that's a story for another time.
After one too many beers?
No. It was a real elephant in Must in Botswana. And I broke the land speed record on foot that day. I ran faster than anybody.
So just when you're in Botswana and an elephant is running after you,
you're not supposed to run.
But, that's what I was wondering. Is it like bears? You shouldn't run.
Yeah, exactly. Put yourself in that situation and try not to run.
No, I'd probably I don't know what I would do.
It wasn't so much, hey, should I think about running or not? It was I'm over here, and then I was 100 yards away within half a second. So
that's a flight or fight response, and you acted properly.
Yes, I think fighting an elephant generally not a good idea for a human. Melanie from Albuquerque asks the obvious question that I get all the time, which is it just impossible not to take all of them home? Ben, you should answer this question.
Oh, because I have 5 dogs.
Yeah.
No, we have a king size bed, and if I only. If they actually they do have a California King, which is a bit bigger, so maybe I would have 7, maybe 6, but anyway, draw the line at 5 because they all fit on the bed just properly. So here's the thing. We fall in love with a lot of animals that come in, and it's not difficult they all touch our hearts, but we also know that dogs and cats and all animals have this incredible capacity for love. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think, oh, that dog really loves you. They tell me this, you should adopt that dog. I'm going like, well, I know that this dog or cat can find just that same love with a different family. We know that they can. And so we know that we're going to find good homes for them. And it's also good, to be able to share a lot of time with your dog by itself. 5 dogs is a little hard. I have to take each one out, and we have timeouts, and I take ones on different kinds of outings, so they all have their special time together. It's 5 with 5. 4 is easier because I always share my breakfast toast with them, and it's always cutting it to 5 pieces is hard. Mm-hmm. But 4 is a lot easier.
Yeah, the logistics are tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you?
I thought that was going to be a real problem when I started here, and I think it would be a problem in a shelter where, to be frank, more animals don't. Yeah, where we don't have as much success. That's exactly right. And we're a private, nonprofit shelter funded on donors, but we have.
Completely
and we
from
always
people like you.
Yeah. And we always need financial support and, kind of whatever you want to call it, human resources support of people coming to help and volunteer. But we have such an awesome community here in Santa Fe and do such a great job of adopting out these animals that I just don't I guess my point would be if I felt like these animals were in a more urgently desperate situation every day, I might feel that way. But I'm confident in the adopters we get in and the quality of our staff and fundraising to be able to try to keep them happy, and we do as the best job we can with it, and by everybody's standards, a very, very good job. But we need your help always to keep up that standard of care and those standards in terms of being able to adopt as many animals as we can. It's always in the back of my mind, but I know with help from people like you, I don't have to take them all home.
A lot of people who become rescuers, they do see problems at different shelters, and they see a way that they can help out, and that's why they don't become hoarders. Hopefully not anyway. Mm-hmm. They become rescuers.
Yeah.
And then they try to connect those animals with other.
Yeah. And it's about knowing your limits and practicing some willpower, certainly.
Exactly.
But that is our last question for the day, Ben.
What about the dog one?
Well, Tufts from Salem, Oregon asks, what's your favorite snack and can I have some? My favorite snack is, I'd say chicken fingers or any sort of fried chicken. And no, you can't. I don't share my chicken.
What's interesting is that some of my dogs, they love everything I eat. I noticed this morning that I was doing some oatmeal with bananas, and they also love the bananas, which is good.
Yeah, my dog loves vegetables.
That's interesting.
But anyway.
Hey, thanks for the questions, everyone, and we hope to have another Q&A session here soon, and maybe we'll Skype some people. We have all kinds of fun things planned for this podcast, so we hope
if you want to call in and argue with us or anything like that. But that is our show for today. Next week, we're going to have a local celebrity, Christopher Willett, on our show to talk about his life in animal welfare and his life in Santa Fe. I have another secret game for Ben and he to play.
A lot of games coming up.
Yeah. And thank you so much for your support, continued support from the community in Santa Fe and around the world. And this podcast is reaching around the world now. We always need your help. We always need your donations. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks for
Have a good
sticking
week.
with us.